Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be on the basics of bushcraft. The things people who are wanting to get into bushcraft should get, and just some of the things that I have that I carry in my bushcraft kit. So our first category is cutting. Alright, so it's going to be your knives, your saws, hatchets, axes. Alright, so we'll start with this saw here. This is mine. It's the Friendly Swede. Um, you can get it off of Amazon for 20 bucks ish, somewhere in there. Love this thing. Haven't really had to sharpen any of the teeth yet. Still cuts just like the day I got it. Hatchets. So hatchets are another good tool when we're talking about the cutting implements. This one here I picked up 10 years ago. It's called, or it's made by Old Timer. I love this thing. It's got a good rubber handle, good grip with it, plus I can get up on it. The characteristics you're looking for with a hatchet is that you're able to use it to do fine detail works if you have to, but it's mostly being able to chop through things. This one, I'd say I'm swinging about 2 pounds kind of deal. I know some smaller hatchets are maybe 1 pound, a pound and a quarter. It's all about your preference in what you like to carry, what you like to swing. You can go as an inexpensive or as expensive as you want. When we come to knives, for bushcraft, something like this is what you're looking for. 4 inches, I'd say, is the minimum blade length that you would want. This one is not, but I recommend having a full tang style knife. With that being said, I still recommend this to anybody getting into bushcraft. This is the Mora Companion. I absolutely love this knife. You will have to modify it one bit, or one thing that you have to modify on this is the spine is rounded. Just in this spot here, all you gotta do is take a little grinder or a file and get yourself a 90-degree edge on there, so you're able to use it to strike a ferro rod. Alright, that's the only thing I nick this Mora on it. You can get the other Moras out there. You can get any of the other bushcraft knives out there. You can go get you a Fulton even if you want to. I'd love to. I just don't have that kind of money to spend on a knife. But yeah, getting in this I think is a great recommendation for that. The other thing is, if you wanted to get a lot of tools in a small capacity, go with a Leatherman or some type of other multi-tool. It has a knife and it comes really sharp. Out of the box, it's you can't beat it for a multi-tool blade. A lot of the times you get one and it's pretty dull. This one, this is a Leatherman. This is the Super Tool 200, so this is a little bit older of a model. But this blade, sharp out the gate. There's other tools in there. You even have a file on here, so if you needed to, you could touch up your hatchets or axe with it. It has a saw on it as well. You're not cutting down a tree with it, but it gets you through in a pinch kind of deal. There's Phillips bottle opener and all, a serrated knife on here. You got your flatheads of multiple different sizes, and the file, and then pliers. The next category we're going to talk about is cordage. All right. So obviously, I think everyone at this point has heard or dealt with 550 cord. All right. Um, it's a very useful package. It itself has this outer sheath of rope. On the inside is 7 strands. So you could break this down and have multiple pieces of cordage very easily. So 550 cord's a good one. The other thing I think a lot of people should have, and you don't have to get this right off the bat, especially if you buy 100 feet of 550 cord, but bank line. So there's 2 different types that you'll find out there. There's a tarred bank line, and then there is just the regular twisted bank line. I like the twisted because, like the 550 cord, you can break it down into multiple strands. With the tarred, you can't do that as much. You could work at it and do it, but it'd be a pain compared. I would recommend having a candle in your combustion kit, and we'll get to a combustion kit here in a second, but I highly recommend a candle in the combustion kit. That way you can light that candle, and then you can use that candle to cut your bank line. Otherwise, it's going to fray out and just become individual strands. All right. Speaking of our combustion kit, all right, I have my combustion kit in this tin. All right. Here's that candle that I recommend you guys carry, just a little tea candle, not too fancy with it. I also carry char cloth in here. I carry cotton balls, and attached to that cotton ball is a piece of fat wood processed down. So I have different sizes of this stuff. This piece I would just literally run it across the back of the knife and create a powder out of it to ignite it. And on the bigger ones, I'd make into a small feather stick and light it that way. In my combustion kit, I have 3 different methods of making a fire. All right. There's a rule that everyone should know and understand. That rule being 1 is none and 2 is 1. That means that if you have one item out there and something happens to that one item, now you're just up the creek without a paddle kind of deal. All right. So my number 1, lighter. Make sure it's a bright color that you can find very easily against nature. All right. This type of blue, a red, and orange, those things pop in the dirt. All right. And it's automatic fire every time. And if you run out of fluid, you can still use a lighter to start a fire, and I'll show you guys that in a later video. I highly recommend Bic. So if it gets wet or any type of moisture gets down on here, you can still get the fire out of this. All right. Not every brand is able to do that. The most consistent is Bic. If you get water in there, you blow it out, you run it a couple times, and you should be able to get your fire within a few seconds. But highly recommend Bic as your survival lighter or your bushcraft lighter. The other thing I carry, and this is going to be the second easiest way to get it going besides a lighter, and that's a ferrocerium rod. All right. So with the ferrocerium rod, all you have to do is scrape it, and you get sparks off of it. So there's a black coating that you have to work through before you actually get down to the material that actually causes your sparking. So with that, you would just take kind of at like a 45-degree angle with your knife, digging down into the rod itself. It's one of the reasons why the little ones are not the best. But you're able to get sparks thrown off of it very, very easily. The other method I have, my third method, is a flint and steel. Alright? High carbon steel and a piece of flint. When you knock them together just right, it creates that spark. You would sit your char cloth on here and you would kick that spark from your flint into your char cloth, and then take your char cloth and put it into your bird's nest that you would make in order to blow on it and then cause flame into the bird's nest. That way, this way is one of the more time consuming and one of those that you have to actually spend time practicing in order to get it. And sometimes you have to have a good set of lungs for a good little bit. Not always is your material that you built your bird nest out of the driest. All right, circumstances always dictate, and that is why I carry the 3 different systems of starting a fire. And like I said before, candle, and you have, there we go, you have your flame. Right? So if you need to see something at night and you don't want to pull out your flashlight, you want to cut your bank line, you want to burn the ends of your 550 cord from fraying, and you don't want to use all the butane that comes in your lighter, this candle comes in handy. One of the other things you can get, my wife picked me up this for a Christmas gift, stocking stuffer, is a plasma lighter. Alright. Well, apparently I need to put this back on charge, but right here, that plasma crisscrosses on there, and it comes with a flashlight. So you're killing 2 birds, 1 stone with this thing by having a signaling device and a lighter on there as well. So the next thing is cover. So this is a Mylar blanket. All right. This is one of my pieces of cover, just because I can throw it up in an emergency to keep myself warm and to keep myself dry. If I have to sleep on the ground and for some reason I was an idiot and I didn't properly plan for my events, this is what I'm going to have to use because it stays in my bushcraft kit at all times. This does not leave there. So that's the emergency extreme side of cover. The other thing that can be cover is a rain jacket, right? Here in my area, rain and wet is a bigger inconvenience than most other weathers. This can last a good while, or I can throw it on and dry me out. Right? It'll hold the body heat in and allow me to push moisture to the outside while keeping my inside warm and allowing my clothes to dry from my body heat. Now, I will say it does work, but you cannot be soaking wet like you just jumped in the lake and decided you weren't going to get undressed. Can't be that wet. But if you are walking through the rain till you get to an area of cover and you get moderately wet, you can throw this on and dry out pretty easily. The other things, you can have a oil canvas tarp. You can have a nylon style tarp, any of those kinds of things to create shelter out of. All right. You can also create lean-tos and shelter out of material just out in the woods. And that's mainly what I do when I go out there. Sometimes I'll take a wool blanket out there with me and stuff like that, but a lot of the times I'm going out there, I'm advancing my skill tree. I'm doing things the hard way on purpose in order to get better at my craft. So these next few items are not specifically necessary to bushcrafting in the way those first several were. These items are extenders. All right. So the first ones I showed you were what most people would consider the 5 C's of survival, or the 5 C's of bushcraft. That being cutting tools, cordage, container, cover, and combustion. All right. There's 10 C's altogether. All right. These next items touch on those, but they're not all 10 C's. All right. But these are things that, as a person getting into bushcraft, these are items I think you should have. All right. That first one is going to be a good set of leather gloves. All right. Especially working with a pot, boiling water and stuff like that, you don't want to be grabbing it with your bare fingers. So a good pair of leather gloves is what the doctor ordered. The next thing, I think, is several different ways of light. All right. So I already showed you this flashlight, so it's handheld. This one here is a headlamp. That way you're able to continue to work with both hands at night, and it makes life easier. All right. The other thing I think every bushcrafter should have is a compass. All right. You can get the simple ones from REI. This one I got from a mill surplus place. It's just a GI compass. I used these while I was in the Marine Corps, and it's something that I'm very comfortable using. All right. It looks a lot more complicated than it is, and we can go into a video on this down the road. All right. But like I said, you can get a very basic one from REI, and that's going to do you just fine. The last thing I think every bushcrafter should have is a first aid kit of some sort. All right. In this first aid kit, we have obviously stop the bleed material. We have a tourniquet on top. Inside, I have a compression bandage. I have a stop the bleed kit, gauze, quick clot. I have band-aids. I have gauze gall padded, or no, sorry, gall pads. That's what I want to say. I have gloves for dealing with other people's wounds and stuff like that. All right, and then carry a couple different rolls of tape in here as well, waterproof medical tape, electrical tape, and some duct tape as well. And then with all those items, the only thing that's left is a good pack. All right. I carry all these items in this bag here, and this bag floats between different packs, whether I'm running in my hunting pack or if it's my actual bushcraft pack. And this is my day pack from the Marine Corps, and this is what I use to carry all this stuff in. Alright, it can fit the medical, the full bushcraft. I can get the tarp in here, I can get water bottles in here, and then I can take and roll my wool blanket around the outside of this just fine, and it sits on me well. It's got the shoulder straps obviously, but also if I need to, it's got the waist straps tucked in here as well. I absolutely love this thing. You'd be surprised at what you can fit in a day pack. All right. So those are the basics for anyone that's trying to get into bushcraft. All right. You can spend as much money as you want or as little money. I would say that when you're going to look at spending the money on these things, that the majority of the fund that you have towards this to start out with should go to your cutting implements. All right. You don't have to break the bank to get a good knife. There are plenty of reviews out there showing you what kind of knives, what kind of hatchets, saws, the whole 9 yards with the price points and stuff like that. I can show you all the ones that I have, the ones that I use now versus those other ones that I've had before. Just create the kit to you specific. All right. If you don't want everything that I just showed you and you just want to get into it, cutting tools is all you need. All right. You can figure out the cordage later. You don't even have to take cordage into the field. You can make your own cordage. Everything like that. When it comes to bushcraft, your imagination is allowed to run wild. The only thing about it is what tools are you willing to take into the field with you, and what are you willing to build while in the field. All right. So leave comments down in there in the comment section for anything that you would like me to go over, any reviews that you would like, anything like that. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. If you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like in the comments. And as always, y'all have a good one.